Israel and Palestine have gradually moved to an alarming standoff. What were usually described as skirmishes on and off have now intensified into a serious impasse. From merely using traditional infantry to now using drones and combat helicopters, the tensions have now reached a whole new level. Israel has begun a major aerial and ground offensive in the occupied West Bank city of Jenin, its biggest military operation in the Palestinian territory in years, as violence continues to surge in the conflict. And amid all this heightened and critical imbroglio, Jenin and Nablus are facing the brunt of Israel's ire and retaliation. In the latest incident, Israel's military launched air raids on the Jenin refugee camp in the northern occupied West Bank as part of Operation Home and Garden. At least 5 Palestinians have been killed in this raid so far. The IDF has enforced almost a total siege on the camp, with special forces operating inside the camp, raiding homes, searching people and arresting many of them. Jenin and nearby Nablus have been the major targets of the now more than year-old Israeli Operation Breakwater, which has involved near-nightly raids and some of the fiercest fighting in the West Bank since the Second Intifada ended in 2005. Vigilante attacks by West Bank-based Israeli settlers against Palestinian villages are also growing in scale and scope. Only a few days before last month's drone strike in Jenin, for the first time since the Second Intifada, the IDF had used helicopter gunships to help extract troops and vehicles from a raid on the city after fighters used explosives against a force sent in to arrest 2 militant suspects. The Jenin refugee camp on the outskirts of the northern West Bank city was set up in the 1950s, and the ghetto-like area, home to about 11,000 people, has long been viewed as a hotbed of what Palestinians see as armed resistance and Israelis as terrorism. Hundreds of armed fighters from militant groups including Hamas, Islamic Jihad and Fatah are based there. Between mid-March and early May last year, 19 people were killed in a series of terror attacks in Israel, prompting the IDF to launch Operation Breakwater. 2 of the men who had carried out those attacks were from Jenin city. The city of Jenin has seen the emergence of Jenin brigades that have been carrying out covert attacks on Israel. This group is mainly supported by the PIJ, that is Palestinian Islamic Jihad. Israel considers the PIJ an Iranian proxy that wants to destroy the state of Israel. While Hamas is the largest of these groups and it has effectively ruled Gaza Strip since 2007, the Palestinian Islamic Jihad is said to be the most violent one. It owes its origin to the Iranian Revolution and Muslim Brotherhood in the 1980s. In May last year, the birth of an armed resistance group called the Nablus Brigade was also announced. These 2 groups often launch attacks against the Israeli forces from these 2 cities. The Operation Breakwater, according to IDF, was aimed at crushing an increasingly organized Palestinian armed resistance in Jenin and Nablus, which emerged after an outburst of Palestinian resistance in May 2021. It began in occupied East Jerusalem's Sheikh Jarrah neighborhood and culminated in Israel's war with armed groups in Gaza for 11 days that caused widespread destruction and havoc. More than 170 Palestinians, including at least 30 children, were killed across the occupied West Bank and East Jerusalem last year. Over 9,000 Palestinians have been injured by Israeli forces in the West Bank since the start of the 2022, according to the United Nations. And its projections that 2023 is already on its way to become even more bloodier might come true if this spate of violence and killings does not stop.